Yo, what is up, guys? So we have an anime character inspired deck. This is Revolver from the new Yu-Gi-Oh! V-Rains. So this is an anime inspired deck. Just keep that in mind, guys. It's not going to be a super meta duel. Although the duel is pretty hype. It's straight up anime status. We see so many cards in this duel. See some play that we normally would not see because, you know, spirals just kind of don't give you that extra turn that you need to even play Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, yeah, this is the new ROKKET archetype. Again, this is based off of the ROKKET archetype that Revolver runs in the anime series, courtesy of Tsubasa over here. Now, I just want to say real quick, if it does say Magna Volt, the cards are actually called the Magna ROKKET in the TCG. So there is a little bit of difference in the name, but they're still ROKKET monsters at the end of the day. Heck, we got like a bunch of secret rare cards that are in the ROKKET archetype, and people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to pull these. But maybe, guys, they will be good later down the line because sometimes character decks, they get a lot of support later down the line. But anyways, yeah, I just want to mention that real quick. So briefly to explain what the heck ROKKETs are all about, because no one is really covering this archetype. Basically, a majority of the cards actually want to be destroyed by card effects, and then they get some type of bonus, whether it's searching or sending a card to the graveyard, or just getting some type of effect, right? But anyways, they actually really like to go for Link Summon. So this is one of their Link monsters, 3 burst Blast Dragon. So once per turn, once per turn during the damage step, when anything is activated, spell, trap, or monster effect, you can actually negate that as a quick effect. It also does piercing damage, and then during your main phase, except for the turn that this card was summoned, you can actually tribute it and then target one link to a lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And then you can also special summon 1 level 4 or lower dragon monster from your hand. That's also another effect of one of the gateway dragon cards, just a special summon monster. So I want to say it's mostly a Link oriented deck. However, it can lock your opponent out of making certain things with one of their cards that it's not necessarily a ROKKET card, but like all the artwork is definitely supporting the whole archetype itself. Kind of like how like Mermails and Atlanteans, they go together. I feel like there's a lot of cards, especially with the artwork, they're all related in the same sense. But anyways, the Belt Link Wall Dragon is able to special summon itself whenever you Link Summon, and then you can special summon it from your hand, and then once you do that, you place 2 counters on it once you Link Summon, and then neither player can Link Summon with a monster that has a higher Link rating than the number of counters on this card. And then also, if a monster is Link Summoned, you remove 2 counters from this card. And once per turn in the center phase, you place a counter on this card. This guy actually pulled off over here the new Skull D Draw 4 effect. The guy is a legend indeed. Although he decides to go ahead and go for a Boreal Load Dragon, and he's going to snatch steal the Skull D out of his hands for that turn, and then it's going to go ahead and go away. But this card is actually pretty strong. And there's also an interesting interaction with another card, Mark of the Rose, which was a card that saw some play a long time ago in Plants. I have seen a few people try it out. It was a really cool card. We'll see it pretty soon over here. But like, there's just so many plays in this duel. Again, this is definitely an anime-inspired deck. We see a Raigeki activate over here, but he's going to be able to draw a card. And then also, Keeper of the Shrine is able to special summon itself. And it's got that thick area over there in the defense zone with 2100, so he's not going to be taking any damage. But I was actually surprised. I thought some of these cards would be machines, but they're actually all dragons, it seems like. That's how the ROKKET archetype looks to be right now. And then we see a Trigate Wizard, and it's got those Link Stones, but he's got the Supply Squad. He's going to be able to draw another card, and he's going to go ahead and take 25 to the face, and then another 300 courtesy of the Link Karibo. He's got 2,500 life points left, but then he's able to go ahead and summon the Magna ROKKET. Keep in mind, I know it says Magna Vola, but Magna ROKKET is the actual name for the TCG. But he's going to go ahead and attack over the Link Karibo over there. And unfortunately, Trigate Wizard won't be so strong, but he actually decked out his opponent. I was actually surprised by that. What a win condition over there. But I got another replay to share with you guys, and I'll also give you guys a deck profile for any of you guys that are interested in trying out maybe this anime inspired deck once again to just play it yourself. Again, there's a lot of cards that are secret rare that are in this archetype, but I would say they're relatively cheap now. But let's go ahead and check out what he's going to be doing. He's activating a maxing response to the Fire Prison over here. We see Soldier Dragon, a really interesting card. Whenever your opponent does anything, you get to just summon a level 2 or lower dragon monster from your deck, which can actually be another copy of itself. And then it goes ahead and special summons the the AzneyesROKKET. It's still Rocket 1 Dragon. So anyways, this has an effect whenever when a link monster effect is activated. Oh gosh, I hate how like the card moves away. But anyways, whenever a link monster's effect is activated that targets this card, you can destroy this card, then make one face-up monster on the field unable to attack, also negating its effects. And then during the end phase, this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon a Rocket monster from your deck. You can only use each effect once per turn, but like I said, that's how the Rocket archetype likes to work. There's a lot of cards where it's like special summon this card, but then it like gets destroyed during a certain like time. But yeah, that's kind of how the whole archetype likes to play. So Black Rose, probably not the best idea to make against this deck because a lot of the cards actually get a benefit. Like for example, the Magna Rocket Dragon over here has the effect where he's able to just send one monster from the field to the graveyard. I like how we see Mark of the Rose snatch stealing the Boreal Load Dragon because it says neither player can target this card with monster effects, but Mark of the Rose is actually there to take it. I like how he took his monster, but then he took his monster back, but it still, I guess, goes away during the end phase of the next turn. So unfortunately, he still loses out on his own monster. We see people snatch stealing for days over here. Then we see the Auto Rocket Dragon. Again, I know it says Auto Volt, just keep that in mind. It's just TCG OCG name. But then he's activating the Quick Resolve that lets him special summon a Rocket monster from the deck and it can't attack. But it's destroyed during the end phase. So a lot of the cards, again, they're basically used as a stepping stone to make other things. Grinder Golem is an excellent, excellent card in the deck. Although, one downside with that card, just as a heads up. Wait, Keeper in the Shrine? Okay. Keeper in the Shrine wasn't in this replay. Also, I wanted to mention something really interesting. A lot of these replays actually are the opponent actually quitting. But there was an interesting interaction versus this guy that is playing the new Burning Abyss. I know the new Burning Abyss Link monster is pretty hot. But more importantly, Burning Abyss, they have this effect that's just inherent with them. Where they actually can't control something that is a non-Burning Abyss. It just causes the monster to die. And I thought this was kind of just a funny thing overall. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, if you control monsters that's not a Burning Abyss monster, you have to destroy the card. A lot of them are actually able to special summon themselves. As long as you don't control a non-Burning Abyss, it's totally fine. But if you just give your opponent the Grinder Golem, it actually just gets rid of the monsters. And then, like, if there's another Burning Abyss that would activate the effect with special summon or something, the guy just quit on him because didn't know what to do, because you could just get real cheeky with this deck and just sit there in defense mode until you get off your powerful Link plays, and then the Burning Abyss player, he like can't play around like Grinding Golem. Like there's nothing in Burning Abyss you'd be like, oh, I'm a tribute. Obviously you could use it perhaps as Link material, but sometimes you know you just don't have that option to go for it. I just thought it was kind of funny there, especially if Dante doesn't have materials, you'd have to crash into something. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like I said, a lot of the replays are just kind of people just kind of quitting. Anyways, I wanted to give you guys the deck profile for any of you guys that were interested in just checking out the deck. But keep in mind, guys, again, this is an anime-inspired deck, so if you see anything that might be a little bit obscure, it could be because the actual player, Revolver, plays some of these cards, because it is an anime-inspired deck profile. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I haven't seen like Supply Squad in a while, so I don't watch the V-Reigns myself, but my boy Tsubasa hooked me up with this, and it's kind of cool just to see some other decks. Again, there's a bunch of secret rares, and they're not really worth anything right now, but maybe this could give you guys an idea of what you want to try to do with some of those cards if you want to try out the deck yourself. But anyways, let's go and get started. So first off, we got one Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Grinder Golem, just because it's an excellent card in like any Link Summon based deck. Heck, I would have thrown in multiples of this. However, like Keeper of the Shrine definitely showed to be a very powerful card. Like he should have actually lost a few times, but Keeper of the Shrine makes it so whenever it's like a dragon is just face up. While this card is in your hand or graveyard, a face-up dragon-type monster on the field, except for itself, is sent to the graveyard by a card effect or is destroyed by battle. You can just special summon it. And all the Rockets have a lot of effects where, like, when they're destroyed, you get some type of bonus. Especially with the card that just lets you just special summon one, but it's destroyed, you can just go ahead and special summon this. So you can still kind of defense up, maybe use it as some stepping stones for some Link monsters. But yeah, anyways, next up we have the Cracking Dragon. We didn't see it in the replays, but it can be destroyed by battle with a monster with a equal or lower level. And when your opponent normal or special summons exactly one monster and no other monsters are summoned while this monster is on the field, you can make that monster lose attack equal to its level times 200 until the end phase. Just kind of an interesting card. don't know why exactly it's in here. Personally, like I said, I don't watch the V-Rains myself, but maybe he plays it. But this is supposed to be a rocket deck. But anyways, we have 3 copies of Magna-Volet Dragon. There's also 2 copies of the White Dragon. So this is supposed to be banishing a dark monster. So it can kind of help out with some of these cards that aren't exactly like a thing that you want in your graveyard, because you're not going to be able to special summon your Keeper of the Shrine. Because I believe you have to have like all dragon monsters. Where is it? It says if a face-up dragon type monster on the field is destroyed while this is in the graveyard because it's destroyed by battle. Okay, never mind. There's another. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I think it might be Totem Dragon that I'm thinking of, where it's like you have to like only have dragons in your graveyard. So never mind. Scratch that idea. Maybe wait. Is there any lights in here? Oh, I guess there's this. You play Black Luster Soldier, maybe. But anyways, next up, going over to the Metal Rocket Dragon. So whenever a Link monster is affected, it's activated that targets this face-up card. You can destroy this card, then destroy all cards your opponent controls in the same column as this card was in. So that's kind of cool. You can kind of set up. Again, that's the point of the whole archetype, is to actually like just destroy itself, and then you get some extra type of bonus effect. And then during the end phase, that's when you get the effect, by the way, when it destroys in the same column. And then if this card was in the graveyard because it was destroyed by battle by card effect, you can special summon a rocket monster from your deck except for itself. A lot of them will say like except for itself. That's just kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh is these days. But also we have Gateway Dragon. So if your opponent controls a Link monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can only special summon Gateway Dragon once per turn this way. But once per turn, you get to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Dark Dragon monster from your hand. So this is kind of what makes the deck kind of get going over here with some of the Link summon plays. Again, the whole deck seems to all be about Link summoning, especially some of these cards over here. But anyways, next up, Keeper of Shrine, kind of went over him. Then we have the Auto Volet. So whenever a Link monster effect is activated that targets this card as a quick effect, you destroy it, then you can send a Spawn Trap on the field to the graveyard. So they have things where one of them gets rid of a monster, one of them gets rid of a Spawn Trap. And then also, if it was a destroyed battle by card effect, you get to go ahead and special summon a rocket monster except for itself. And then next up we have the Shell Rocket. So whenever a Link monster effect is activated that targets this face-up card on the field, you can destroy this card and then destroy 1 monster in the same column as this zone that this was in. And then if there's a monster or monsters in the zone adjacent and it says horizontal to the destroyed monster, destroy that monster or monsters during the end phase. Now, unfortunately, yes, sometimes that could be a little bit too slow when it has the effect during the end phase. But that's a period. That's a separate effect, by the way. It's not part of the effect of the adjacent thing. But anyways, during the end phase, if this card was in the graveyard because it was destroyed battle by card effect and sent there that turn, you just special summon rocket monster from your deck. So like again, a lot of them just have that effect. Just keep in mind this gets rid of a monster that's in the same column that this was in, and if there's monsters in the zones adjacent to it, you get to get rid of them, and this one gets rid of the Spawn Trap. And this one doesn't have to be in the column. So I like that they support the column archetype, but I feel like some of the cards, when you read them, it gets a little bit too confusing. And the next up, we have 2 copies of Soldier Dragon. That's just like extra fodder for Link. That's really what it comes down to. Then we have 3 copies of the AzneyesWhitedragon Dragon. So whenever a Link monster's effect is activated that targets this card, you can destroy this card to make a face-up monster on the field unable to attack and negate its effects. And we did go over that one during the replay. But then again, special summon a rocket. And then next up we have the Belt Link Wall Dragon. Again, this is supposed to also kind of be used as a Link stepping stone. However, I don't know how I feel about this card, because I mean, at the end of the day, if they have a Regeki or a Kaiju, they can just get rid of this pretty easy. However, you'll still have a monster, so maybe it could be kind of like a bait for other things, because some decks they obviously need to Link summon, and if they don't have access to Link summoning, then they just lose. Next up, we have the Set Rotation, then we have the Squib Drop. I believe this one was actually a secret rare, so once you target a rocket monster you control, destroy it, and then draw 2 cards, then usually with the rockets you special summon another one. Anyways, and then next up we have Quick Revolve, so this one allows you to go ahead and special summon a rocket from your deck, and then it gets destroyed. It also can't attack, unfortunately. They do have, I would say, relatively low attack as far as I'm aware of right now, the rocket archetype. However, maybe later down the line they'll get something stronger, but obviously you're going to be Link summoning with them anyways. Then we have 1 copy of Supply Squad. I thought this card was really good for the deck because not only is your opponent going to be destroying your cards, but you can destroy your own cards yourself, so that's kind of cool. And next up we have 2 copies of Fire Prison. So makes so dragon monsters on the field gain extra defense, and then neither player can Link summon a monster with a lower Link rating than a Link monster on the field. And then Also, monsters can't attack except for link monsters. So there's a few cards that really support the whole, like, you gotta go for links, but then, like, you lock your opponent out of links. That's what the deck wants to do. How good is it? I just don't think it's going to be very meta, but it's just, again, an anime-inspired deck. And then also, it negates the active effects of all Cyberburst monsters. And then also, Cyberburst monsters on the field can't attack. It's, like, super anti them. And then also, monsters cannot target them for attacks. And also, neither player can target them with card effects. And then we have 3 copies of Revolve Boot Sector, so it makes so all Rocket gain 300 attack and defense, and then you can only use one of the following effects of it once per turn. So it says for those 2 effects, you could special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. And then the second effect says, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon 1 rocket monster or monsters with different names from your graveyard in defense position up to the surplus. So that's kind of a cool effect. You can just get a bunch of monsters, and again, that's the point of the deck. It's pretty much a link summon deck. And next up, we have 2 copies of the Boreal Refrigeration. I'm not sure if this card is going to be counting as a rocket card. I don't think so, but again, some of the TCG's names get changed. But anyways, you tribute a rocket monster, then target a Boreal link monster you control and equip this to it against the effect. So once per turn as a quick effect, you can target 1 monster you control. This turn it can't be destroyed by battle by card effects, so it can kind of help you stall out your cards. And then also, you get 2 copies of Royal Decree and Solemn Warning. But as far as the extra deck, I think the most important cards, I mean, I'll mouse over the Utopia lineup. Cowboy, the standard. I'm going to put this guy over here because he's kind of like a standard rank 4. I'd say that these are pretty, well, Cowboy has seen a lot less play recently, but for the most part, everyone plays Utopia. But we have 2 copies of the Boreal Dragon, and we have 2 copies of 3 Burst Blast Dragon, and then we have the Reloader Dragon, which I don't know if we went over. I'm just going to go over its effect real quick. But anyways, it requires 2 rocket monsters, and you can target 1 other link monster you control and special 1 rocket monster from your hand to your zone that link monster points to, but it can't be used as material and it's destroyed during the end phase, which could activate all their effects. And then also, you can only use this effect about once per turn, and when this card is destroyed by battle into the graveyard, you can target 1 rocket monster graveyard and add it back to your hand. And then we have the Proxy Dragon Code Talker Underclock Taker. We have 2 copies of him, and then we got Link Spider and Link Kirby, because it's just the best like Link one in the game right now. Wow, so much stuff to go over, but let me know, guys, what you thought of the Revolver Rocket deck. I think that it's a pretty interesting deck. I like how they have some type of, you know, new mechanic in a sense where, like, you want to destroy your own cards to get effects. But I just don't think it's that great as of right now in the game. But again, they're making a lot of these cards secret rare, and I feel like unless they make some extra really strong support later, that's just kind of a bad secret rare to pull. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below if you change anything. But again, keep in mind this is an anime-inspired deck, so some of these more obscure cards, they may be in here because of the character from the TV show. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the Rockets in action. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Character anime-inspired decks.